ladies. How are we?
We're
Great.
good. How about you?
So, I'm trying to figure. I am traveling next month. I'm actually going to visit my son.
Yay.
And this is the first time I am traveling without restrictions. So I don't have to wear any form of face covering. If I don't wish to, it's not mandatory. Flying. How do you guys feel about that? And have you guys done any traveling without it? Now, I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Well, for me, I haven't done any traveling, and my traveling on a flight won't be till the new year. So it's not even in the back of my mind because I'm not traveling, nor are my immediate family. So I'm not even thinking of it. And when we do our big trip next year, it will be another like summer 2023. We're not really worrying. What about you, Tracy?
Yeah, I have a trip coming up in October. Flight trip, very long flight trip. And I have mixed feelings.
Okay.
We still have to wear masks in our airports and on our planes. That is an Ontario thing. So we have not had those restrictions removed.
Okay.
So we still have to still have to wear that. But there is, having been somebody who has suffered quite a bit of anxiety with the pandemic, it is somewhat anxiety inducing to think of being with this many people, out of my own bubble, out of my own environment, having to go to multiple different locations because I'm not staying in one spot. I'm traveling around. So yeah, I have to really work on my brain to not travel down a rabbit hole because it could be very easy to do for sure.
So over COVID, did you stayed pretty contained within your own bubble? So you weren't really, like, we've done a lot of interaction where I live, so it's like we're kind of a bit used to that. It doesn't even feel like there's anything going on. But for you, no, it's you stayed
I
in the
stayed
bubble.
completely, yeah, I stayed completely in my bubble with my husband and my immediate family.
They
And
didn't
it
get on
was
your nerves?
very, no, actually, I really enjoy their company.
Tracy.
That's another conversation.
That's a good one.
But yeah, it is. Uh, so it was very easy to do because I live out in the country.
Mm,
So it's not like I'm in a metropolis. It's not like you don't go to the corner store for milk or bread. Like you're driving somewhere and it's like, a 15-minute drive away so it's a very purposeful thing. If you're going to go into town, you're going into town to get your
mhm.
groceries, dry cleaning, whatever it is that you're doing,
right.
right? So yes, it was very easy to stay within my bubble. And primarily because of my work schedule, my husband was the one that went out virtually all the time. So it was very easy to stay home indoors.
Tracy, before we were all in a lockdown for COVID, did you have anxiety? So traveling, did you have any forms of anxiety?
No.
So it was and I don't want to say the isolation brought it on. It is just the whole past 2.5 years through the pandemic.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, the isolation I think does have something to do with it because it's like, um, we were told at the beginning of the pandemic that people are unsafe, don't go near anybody, you have the potential to die, like stay away, don't hug anybody, don't touch anybody, wear a mask, like basically walk around in a hazmat suit and you'll be okay. So, and that narrative certainly in Canada, and Tracy, I think you might agree with that, like lasted long after the US conversation. Like we were, like you guys were way more open to opening up and experiencing events and restaurants and all that things long before ever we were. And I don't know what it was like in BC, but certainly in Ontario, we were really locked down.
Yeah.
Really locked down.
Yeah. And even for us, like, because my daughter was in Toronto, right? So we would get her take on stuff. But in BC, we went into another lockdown just before Christmas of what are we in now? 2022, December 2021, where everyone was excited that we're going to go see our family, our extended family, right? And all of a sudden they locked us down. So it was I don't know if it was longer, it felt like, than what was going on in the States.
So it's that whole feeling of not feeling, it doesn't feel right, and it creates this anxiousness and anxiety that I've never experienced before. When prior to that, I mean, I think my first experience was I had an out and out panic attack one day when I was in a store. And I had to bolt right out of there. I just could not be in that store. And I was like, whoa, I've never in my life have I ever experienced this before.
So now you're going on this trip, and I know your love of traveling and visiting different places. How are you going to work through the anxiety part of the flight and moving from place to place so it doesn't affect the trip?
I have been working on that for a while. So certainly it's not like, oh, well, I'm going away next week, so I guess I better start thinking about this.
No.
Like I've been thinking
And so
about this for quite
I
some
was
time.
curious on what are some of the things that you're doing to help you through that?
I'm visualizing a lot. Visualization for me is a real big one. So I visualize myself getting to the airport and having my mask on, being surrounded by a lot of people, like in very close proximity, like being bumped, being like people right up in front of me. And I very easily start to feel very anxious and that anxiety starts to come up right away for me. And then I use my tools that I have to deal with anxiety to start to calm my nervous system down, to make me realize that, okay, I am in control of me here. I'm in control of this, and I'm okay. I can work through this. I'll be okay. So I will do that, as well as, I have been the one that's been saying, shopping needs to be done. I'm the one that's going to do this, right? To force myself to go out there, because that is more important than even the visualization. I mean, I can be exposed to a certain extent, obviously, in the shops or whatever, but it's not going to be the same as being stuck on an airplane or being in an airport. That's, there's a lot of people there. So I have I've been doing a lot of that kind of thing, which has been very helpful, because the more you do, the more that you actually just go out and say, okay, I know this is scary, but I know what I can do to lower my nervous system, to be calm, to, the big, deep breaths, to stand there and go, yeah, I'm anxious. Like, that's okay. Right. Because I think when we verbalize it, it helps to not make it so powerful. It's when we hold it all in and go, oh, I can't talk about this. I'm not allowed to say anything. I don't want anybody to know. That's when we can run into real problems, because it just makes everything escalate, right? So I have no problem standing in the middle of a store going, I'm really anxious. And I'll just say it right out loud. Like, I'm really anxious here. And then I'm like, okay, I've said it now, and now I can start working on it. It's almost like I've given myself permission to start the deep breathing, start to, I manage my mind to say, stop looking at different things, identifying what I'm looking at, so that, again, I'm lowering that anxiety level down, so that I can go, yeah, I'm okay here. I'm fine. I can manage this.
Which is what we've talked about in the past, of taking action, and you're taking action
Yeah.
in order to work through it.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that's the part that I love, Tracy, in everything that you said, is acknowledging when you have that feeling of anxiousness or anxiety, because the moment we acknowledge it and we kind of put a name to it, I am feeling anxious right now in the middle of the, I'm just going to use this, airport. There's too much around me. Then it's like you're taking over that anxiousness. You're taking command of that anxiousness to be able to talk yourself through it, around it, to move to another part of the airport if you could, to do whatever you have to make sure you calm yourself. I love that aspect.
Yeah. And to know that if you literally have to remove yourself, like you got to go to the washroom if you're in the middle of the airport, that is okay too.
Yeah.
Like there is nothing wrong. It's like we then say, oh well, I can't stand here because this is making me too anxious. I got to go move someplace. We make that wrong. And that's where it induces more anxiety because we're telling ourselves that our actions are incorrect and that we don't know how to handle the situation. When in fact, we do know how to handle the situation. We have the tools. Once you've been explained what those tools are and you have an arsenal to, look at, you can get through that situation. And the worst that's going to happen is this feeling right now. That's the worst.
Right.
How about when you're on the plane?
I visualize that. I actually feel more relaxed about that in my visualization than being in the airport. I'm not, it's interesting because having to wear a mask for that length of time, my flight's about 21 hours. So having to wear a mask for that length of time is like, that's going to be daunting. But again, I know how to handle that. It's like, I can get up, I can go to the washroom, I can take my mask off. It's fine. If I need to, I can, take some water, in which case I can take my mask down, take my water and put it back up again, right? Just so that there's that freedom around breathing.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And just a side note on that, bring plenty of masks, because I was on just the flight to Paris and I had to keep swapping them out because I'm not used to wearing them for so long. And so it just felt fresh.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I've been told that too. So
yes.
Yeah.
Well, to be very honest, Tracy, it sounds like you have a very good plan, but I'm sure your processes hopefully can help others with that, because I have the opposites here within the US. I know people that are like, I don't want to fly because they pulled back the restrictions. Well, there's nothing here that says you cannot not wear a mask.
Right.
Yeah.
If you would feel comfortable and that makes your anxiety less, let's go the opposite from where you are, Tracy. We don't have to wear a mask, but if you feel more comfortable, more confident, reduces your anxiety, then by all means, put on the mask.
Yeah.
It's the exact same thing. If you're in a large, crowded area and you don't feel comfortable, you remove yourself from there. There is, through this whole last 3 years, I think what I know the three of us have learned is that it is okay to have our feelings and it is okay to deal with those feelings. It's not okay to squash them down, and it's not okay to ignore them.
Even in public.
Even in public.
Yeah.
Prior to COVID, you would have been like, oh, I'm not going to walk away and go to the washroom or something because I don't want anyone to think I'm getting anxious. And now it's like, screw it. You know what? I need this for me and I'm going to do it.
And no offense, okay? Like if you were sitting next to somebody before COVID and they were just hacking away because they had a really bad cough. I know I've gotten up and moved and gone someplace else. Like really, let's, through flu season or whatever. But I think because the ebbs and flow of COVID And there's something that I want to make sure everybody's clear on. We're talking about our feelings on COVID. This is not a political, there is no political on whether
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I
COVID
don't want to.
masks should be on, masks should not be on. There's none of this.
No, no.
Believe this. Ours is dealing with anxiety that you have due to the fact of everything that's happened in the last 3 years.
Yeah. Because
And-
I was the first person like, we're going someplace. That's amazing. Let's go. When are we going? Like, and just, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
and I want to be in that. I want to go back to that. I want to be that Tracy.
Right.
That doesn't, that doesn't have to do what she's doing right now. Right? Like this Tracy is, like literally working on this situation so that I can have the most pleasant experience possible. And also so that I know that I am capable of feeling that I can deal with whatever it is that comes up. Like I'm going to be okay with throughout the whole thing. I'm going to be fine.
Right.
It doesn't mean that I'm not going to be anxious. That's
Right.
that's going to be, I know that's going to happen. But the question is that I also know what it is that I'm going to do about it. And it's okay to feel that, like you said, Michelle, it's okay to go, yep, this is it. Hello, anxiety. How you doing? We're going to the airport. We're in the airport. It's okay. Just hang out with me. We'll be fine.
Yep.
Because I think sometimes we put expectations on ourselves that it's like, okay, well, if I'm really working on this, then I should never feel it again.
Right.
And that's not
It's
true
wrong.
either. It's like,
Right.
yeah, it's like what
Yeah.
you're doing is you're setting yourself up for the best outcome for you in that situation. That's what you're doing. Yeah.
So
I think
Tracy,
exactly what you're saying is that fine doesn't mean you're still not acknowledging these feelings.
right.
Because,
Yeah.
we'll go, oh, I'm fine. And that means what? I'm neutral. There's nothing there. And it's like, no. It means I'm dealing with what's going on right now and
Yeah.
working through it. And
Exactly.
fine has a different meaning, I think, nowadays.
Yes.
Yeah.
One last question I have for you, Tracy, before we close out. Only because you and I are really big into this. How much pen to paper have you done with this?
Oh, lots. Lots. It's my first go-to. Because what I do is I write out my visualization first, and then I close my eyes and actually get right into that whole moment of, and it sounds like, oh, that's like, who's got time for that? It doesn't take any time at all.
No, it
It really
doesn't.
doesn't. We're talking about like, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. It's like I write out, I'm really anxious to go to the airport. How am I going to deal with this? Think of all the people. Think about people breathing on you. Think about people bumping into you. Think about wearing a mask for 30, 40 hours, because I've
Yeah.
got connecting flights and
Right.
layovers and all that stuff. It's like, okay, think of all of that. What are you going to do for yourself? And I write that out, and it's just bullet points, mask, breathing, identifying objects, identifying how I feel. And then just going there and really seeing that take place. And it grounds me. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm ready. I'm
Mhm.
ready.
Awesome tools. Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome tools. And Tracy, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I know that you probably are touching a few people with that.
Mhm.
And what I would like to say to our audience is, if you are noticing somebody going through that, give them the space that they need, because these anxiety attacks, as somebody who has also suffered anxiety from attacks, not as many now, but I have, are very overwhelming and very paralyzing at times. And so we've learned and have tools now that get us through them, and that is what you need in life. But it is okay to acknowledge that you're having the anxiety attack, and it is okay to find the right tools to get you through that, because we don't want to be held hostage by the anxiety. Because Tracy, you would have had to cancel your trip.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. And I mean, this trip was originally arranged pre-pandemic. And through a large part of this, especially when the first opening up occurred, I prayed that it got canceled. I was like, I don't want to make the decision.
Right.
I really just hope the tour operator says we're not doing it. And then it's like, okay, I'm off the hook, right? But I mean, it like this also is really good because it has, as somebody who has never really identified with anxiety before, I totally understand it. I can be very empathetic to somebody who says, I suffer from anxiety. It's like, I get this. Like,
Mhm.
I know what this experience is. And
Yes.
that's like super important, especially as you know, Michelle is a coach. So,
Yes. Well, we would love to hear how you get through anxiety. We would love to understand in the comments. Or if you have any questions, because it's leading where the whole conversation led around the anxiety of having to leave her bubble. And whatever the anxiety is, this dealt with COVID and traveling, but anxiety is all around in different formats. And so we would love to hear if you have questions about anxiety. We would see if we can help you through those in other future episodes. And also, if you have any comments, please let us know. Don't forget to subscribe. Do not forget to turn on your notifications because every Wednesday we put out a new episode.
And I just want to, sorry, I just want to say that we'll do a follow-up when you come back and
Yes.
see how
oh,
you work
right,
through
yeah.
it, because that would be really, really amazing. And the second thing I wanted to just make note is because at any age, you said you've never had this type of anxiousness, and at any age it can come, and to learn how to deal with it, like, and that you acknowledged it. So I think that, coming from you, that like, it's like, wow, like, oh, at this age, all of a sudden I had this experience, went through an experience that caused anxiousness. And I think that's something we should explore on another episode.
I agree.
Yeah.
Thanks, ladies.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you as a regular member of our community.